Let's be honest. As important to hire as Lou Lamoriello as president of hockey operations is for the New York Islanders, many of us could barely even utter his name before John Tavares returned to the forefront of any Isles thoughts. That's just going to be the status quo until we find out if Tavares re-signs with the Islanders or if he ventures elsewhere and breaks thousands of hearts on Long Island. So, there's no sense denying the all-world elephant in the room. Lamoriello could do great work for the Islanders if, say, he decided to be on GM, but a Tavares departure would still make this front office move a footnote. On the other hand, things would be downright intriguing in Brooklyn if Tavares returns, whether it has anything to do with Lou or not. As much as we'd like to accurately forecast the Tavares sweepstakes, the truth is that few truly know what will happen. Hey, it's possible that Tavares himself might still be mulling over his decision. With or without their best star in ages, the Islanders have a lot of work to do. In a way, it seems like Lamoriello is being asked to do a repair job, much like he did with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who were able to get rid of pesky contracts and add some key components under his watch. Get the notion? During today's press conference, Lamoriello was his usual guarded self, not revealing much about the futures of GM Garth Snow and head coach Doug Weight. The thing is, Lamoriello could make plenty of inferences, even from the outside. Really, you could argue that everything starts and stops with Snow. He's been given rare leeway for a GM considering his 12-year reign, especially considering that the Isles have only won a single playoff series with Tavares and since their glory days. We'll get to the messy salary structure soon. Snow selected Doug Weight to go from interim and then on head coach, and while the interim run almost included a playoff berth, the past 2017-18 was a disaster. Sure, shabby goaltending didn't help, but how much of that falls on Weight's shoulders? This Andrei Burakovsky quote should shake any manager to the core. Burakovsky, the Islanders just gave us a lot of room to skate on from the beginning. I mean, my first 3 shifts, I was skating around and around and around with the puck and making plays. We didn't really expect that out of them. Isabel Khurshudin at Khurshudin, March 16, 2018. Lamoriello is not shy about taking over the GM seat, so you wonder if Snow's days are melting away. He cannot wait too long to make a decision about Weight, as this is the time of year when you enjoy a greater number of opportunities to find coaching replacements. What's Dave Tippett doing these days? Waits for Jacques Lemaire jokes. Oh yeah, and Lamoriello also must prepare for the 2018 NHL draft. That could be a way interesting since the Islanders boast picks 11 and 12, with the latter choice stemming from the Travis Hamonic trade. This figures to be a whirlwind couple of months for Lamoriello and the Islanders organization. Cleaning up. If you're convinced the Islanders will retain Tavares and thus feel little sympathy for this team, just take a look at their salary structure at Cap Friendly. Yikes. During his time in Toronto, Lamoriello helped the Maple Leafs jettison bad contracts from the Phil Kessel days, whether that came via LTIR loophole maneuvering. Just ask Joffrey Lupul, though he'll eventually delete his response as savvy. Trades. It says a lot about Lamoriello's skills that the Maple Leafs didn't need to retain salary in getting rid of Dion Phaneuf's ghastly contract in 2016, yet the Senators were forced to eat $1.75 million of his cap hit in February. It's strange to see a 75-year-old executive serving as a rebuilder, repairer of franchises, particularly after he guided the New Jersey Devils for a generation, but the Isles could benefit from his cleaning services. There are some odious contracts, so we'll see if Lamoriello can conjure some magic to move beyond mistakes like the deals handed to Andrew Ladd and Cal Clutterbuck. It turns out Lamoriello cleans up more than a team's facial hair choices. Cue Monty Burns and Don Mattingly. Other calls. One rare good thing about the Islanders' salary structure is a gimme. Matthew Barzal's on his rookie deal through 2019-20, so Lamoriello doesn't even need to worry about extension negotiations during this summer. Worst case scenario, they'll still have at least one spellbinding star at center. Re-signing Tavares stands as priorities 1 through 91, but there are other choices to make. Brock Nelson stands out as the most prominent forward alongside noteworthy defensemen including Calvin DeHaan, Thomas Hickey, and Ryan Pulock, who are slated for RFA or UFA statuses. There are some key players approaching contract years in 2018-19, with Jordan Eberle and underrated and underpaid scorer Anders Lee headlining the list. Lamoriello must mull over which players to keep, for how long, and for how much. If Tavares' situation is the elephant in the room, then goaltending is the massive hole in the wall. It's tough to imagine any team taking on Thomas Greiss' $3.33 million cap hit through 2019-20 after he submarined his team's chances a lot like Scott Darling did in Carolina, so Lamoriello's tasked with finding ways to reduce the damage. He at least has options. The Isles might get more out of Greiss by improving the system around him, replace Waite, or hope Waite improves, or possibly looking to a different goalie coach. Perhaps Lou would even opt for a sports psychologist. Either way, Lamoriello must also target another goalie, whether that guy is deemed a true backup, the new starter, or a platoon partner for Greiss. Again, a dream scenario would be to somehow move Greiss and get better in net without losing too many other assets, yet that might require Lamoriello to actually become a wizard. Or maybe he'd just need to get Peter Chiarelli on the phone. That's quite a brain, right? The scary part is that this is a simplified version of the choices that await Lamoriello. Will need to ponder the franchise's past failures. Did poor pro scouting inspire questionable additions such as Ladd? At least at his price point, is this team doing enough to develop its draft picks? Lou Lamoriello faces a ton of questions, with many of them standing as challenges even for a decorated, experienced executive. In some cases, he'll need to make some key calls soon, and it should be fascinating to learn what the future holds for the Isles. Of course, the biggest call actually falls to John Tavares, maybe more than all of the other ones combined. More conference finals schedule, TV info. NBC's Stanley Cup playoff hub. James O'Brien is a writer for Pro Hockey Talk on NBC Sports. Drop him a line at thablog@nbcsports.com or follow him on Twitter at CycleLikeStins.